Hello, I'm the 10-minute English teacher. Let's get you exam ready. Today we're thinking about AQA English Language Paper 2 and we're going to be thinking about question 4. This is part of a series of videos, so do feel free to have a look at those for question 1, 2 and 3 on the playlist. Today our focus is question 4. So the exam has 2 sections and takes you 1 hour 45 minutes. We've got the reading section, which is section A, where you have to read 2 extracts for paper 2 and answer 4 questions, and that's followed by 45 minutes of discursive writing. You'll be writing an article, a speech or a letter, and the theme will likely be based on that of those extracts that you've read for the reading section. The reading section takes you 1 hour. The first thing you do is you read the extracts carefully and then you tick 4 boxes after you've read them. It's a true or false situation where you choose the right answers. Relatively straightforward, and in likelihood you should have done that in less than 15 minutes, but you have got time to read those extracts carefully. Then you've got a summary question that asks you to find the information from the 2 extracts. That's followed by a language analysis question. Part of one of the sources is chosen for you, and you have to explore the way language is used by the writer. And then question 4, we're comparing the methods used in the text, and you can borrow some of the thinking from perhaps question 3 for that question if you're able to. So today we're thinking about the methods used by the writers, and we're going to be having a look at 2 extracts and then thinking about those methods used. This is source A. We've got a fortnight in Thailand with bags for life, a newspaper article from 2022. If you want this read to you, you can have that provided by having a look at the question 1 video. Otherwise, feel free to pause here and read this if you're not familiar with it from the videos in the series. So that's source A. It's a recent newspaper article from 2022. Our source B for today is an extract from American Notes by Charles Dickens. It's some travel writing, and this piece explores time he spent in Illinois, USA. So these are our 2 sources. Feel free to familiarise yourself with them. And if you are confident, let's move on and think about the question. Okay, here is the question. For this question, you need to refer to the whole of source A together with the whole of source B. Compare how the writers convey their different perspectives on the places they have visited. In your answer, you could compare the different perspectives on the places, compare the methods used to convey their perspectives, and support your reference support your response with references to both texts. And it's 16 marks. That is exactly how it will be written to you on the day of the exam. The only thing that will change is the writing that's in pink that you see there from me. So today we're thinking about their ideas about the places that they visited. Now, if you're aiming for a 4, 5, 6 grade, you might explore 3 ways that source A communicates their ideas, and then do the same for source B. So you can sort of treat one text as a single entity and then have a look at the second text. But you probably want to explore the idea that they've got different perspectives as you go. In the case of those 2 pieces of writing today, one's very positive and the other one is very negative about their experiences. If you're aiming for a 7, 8, 9 grade, you might look at a method used by source A and then write about whether source B is similar or different in its approach. They might both use, say, similes, but for very different reasons to explore those different perspectives that they have. So here we've got some ideas that we could use to be comparative today. So both use personification to describe the settings. When we talk about methods used, most people stick with language, and that is perfectly agreeable, but you might want to branch out and think about other things like the tone of the pieces. So both writers adopt quite a serious tone to reflect the negative aspects of the settings. Both explore the way buildings reflect the appeal of the places. So you can explore the use of imagery in the 2 texts. That works. And both writers make allusions to death in their own way. So we've got some different methods that are being used here. You can also talk about other language features like adjectives, etc., that might be being used, or any other methods that you can think of on the day. But you can get the high marks by being relatively simple in your approach and then saying relatively engaging and interesting and evaluative things about the simple things that you can find on the surface. So here is an example of how to approach the this question. So we've got this easy, straightforward point. Both writers use personification to describe their settings. And then we've got an example from source A here. So the writer of source A mentions how a temple is rearing its head from the jungle landscape. The use of personification here makes the temple seem mystical and intriguing, making the place seem alluring. You've also got the use of that wonderful adjective majestic there that you could talk about and have the idea of sort of ruling over these forests, etc., and the idea of like worshipping this temple that could be being communicated there. But at the very least, we've talked about this personification with this temple in the jungle landscape, and then we've looked for a similar or different thing in source B. So in contrast, Dickens uses personification to create tension and atmosphere. The river is the hateful Mississippi, which makes the place seem uninviting, threatening even. We associate rivers with hope and prosperity, which this place is devoid of. So I've explained a method, and then I've been comparative and explored how that method's used in both extracts. Now here you have some ways into approaching this question. So we can talk about the way that buildings are explored. You can talk about the imagery that they both use. They both use a lot of vivid descriptions and imagery of the places, and then just explore how they're both positive and negative, how they're different in their sentiments towards places they visited. Both writers adopt quite a serious tone to reflect the negative aspects of the settings, and both writers make allusions to death. We've got that ominous sort of bin bag that sort of you could argue has got a sort of elicits thoughts of death, and Dickens certainly does that quite explicitly in his descriptions of Illinois, USA. So if you want to continue, have a little go at this yourselves, see if you can explore and prove these points, but also can you make any points of your own? There are a number of different features in both texts that you can explore, and think about how you might do that. Okay, check out the other videos on my channel. I'll continue to add content. Feel free to ask for something you'd like to see me cover in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share, and keep revising.